day. My name is Herb Liverwurst, and you're watching cinemacrew.info, the new cinematography website. Today we're going to be talking about the video camera, which is not really anything to do with cinematography because it's videography, but it's all in one package nowadays because a lot of videographers call themselves cinematographers, and cinematographers call themselves videographers. Actually, no, that's not true. No, they're really cinematographers and they hate videographers. But unfortunately, I can't afford to shoot film, so I shoot video, but old school video. So that makes me somewhere in between. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Lucy 2, and this is not to be confused with the other Lucy 2, which is completely a different camera. This is the winter camera, because today, here in the Great White North, is when we convert the camera for winterization. Now, by winterization does not mean shooting outside in the cold, because that would be jobs for people who like to work in the cold, which is not me. So, in the wintertime, I hibernate, shooting inside studios and whatnot, with Lucy 2, the winterized ENG camera. That's exterior news gathering. Actually, it's an exterior field production camera. But it's set up more as a studio camera which you would take on location, not something that you would do, for instance, a news shoot with. So, we're going to begin by talking about the viewfinder. Now, that's not to be confused with the viewfinder that is found on ENG cameras like this. Because this, if you look through it like that, you often see videographers, news videographers, and they're going like that, and they've got the camera there, so something like that, and it's sort of like a cyber eye, you know? I should walk around this downtown and pretend that I'm some camera operator who's lost half his camera and his mind, walking around going, hello, hello, I'm looking for a story. Wasn't that funny? Anyway, so that is and I'll turn the camera around so you can see the viewfinder. Right now it's on color bar, so it's hard to see, I know, with this light. But anyway, this is a viewfinder. Now, the other thing, very interesting thing, is the handles. This is how you focus. This is the focusing handle, and of course the zoom handle here. And they are led by these cables which attach to the lens and focus that way. When you move the camera from side to side like this, it's called panning. When you tilt the camera up and down, that's called tilting. So I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. I'm Herb Liverwurst for cinemacrew.info. That's www.cinemacrew.info. Happy photography!
Hello, I'm Herb Liverwurst, and you're watching newsdocs.tv. We're going to have this podcast approximately once or twice a week and talk about photography. I love photography. I'm a photographer, and I live in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And I'm using the name Herb Liverwurst because who else would have an English accent but Herb Liverwurst? And Herb is going to be the name I'm going to use on this channel to protect the innocent, which is me. I am going to talk about photography and everything to do with it. So, tonight's podcast is about, I guess we'll start right at the beginning, the basics of photography. We're going to talk about the SLR camera, which is single lens reflex, which means that you actually look through the lens. Now, nowadays, the lines have been blurred by point-and-shoot digital cameras, which you can actually look through the lens while you're aiming it at whatever you want to photograph. And it's interesting to see exactly what you're going to take a picture of. Now, a lot of these cameras that aren't traditional SLR design cameras have what you call shutter lag. And shutter lag is when it takes a moment of when you snap the picture, when you press the trigger, and then a moment passes by and then you get the shot, which often leads into missing the moment. Today's modern SLR digital cameras are instant pretty well, which makes photography a lot easier. So the single lens reflex camera, basically the traditional type, has a prism, and you're actually looking through the prism at a reflected image, what the lens sees. So now you're looking through the lens, and you snap the picture, the mirror lifts up, and the film, or in this case the digital plane, is exposed with light, and that creates your image. So this was the first lesson in photography, the single lens reflex camera. I'm Herb Liverwest for newsdocs.tv. My name is Herb Liverwest for newsdocs.tv. You're watching another episode of whatever it's called I'm doing, and today we're going to talk about the SLR camera. In our last episode I mentioned what an SLR camera is, and this is an actual SLR camera. This is a film camera. I believe we should start with the basics. This is one of the last film cameras available to mankind before the world went digital, which I think is quite a shame, really. But that is just my opinion. So, this is a Canon, C-A-N-O-N, not N-I-K-O-N. No, some people misspell Canon, and that's a mistake. It's C-A-N-O-N, not N-I-K-O-N. So this is a EOS 1N, and it's a non-digital SLR camera. As you can see, I know there's nothing on the back. So how do you know what your picture looks like? Well, there's something called, this is going to be a surprise, a negative. This is a negative. All my life I've been told not to think negative. But in photography, it's all about thinking negative. So, these little gems are negatives, and this particular negative is a... oh dear. I'm glad you can't see what these are. Anyway, excuse me. Yes, I'm going to have to take a 5-minute break, and I'll be back after these messages. Thank you. Yeah, hello. Welcome back. I'm Herb Liverwest, and you're watching newsdocs.tv. So we were discussing 35mm cameras and negatives. Yes, negatives. Yes. So this is a 35mm. This is a 35mm camera, and yes. Before the break, we were talking about negatives, and this is a negative. And welcome back, and you're watching newsdocs.television, and I'm Herb Liverwest, and welcome back. Yes, so we were discussing attention deficit disorder, ADD. ADD stands for Attention Deficit 35mm Camera. So, yes, of course, as you notice, there's nothing on the back. I think we've discovered this. We've already talked about this. So, on to the next subject. The next subject of our next show will be medium format cameras. So join us next week at newsdocs.tv. I'm Herb Liverwest. Happy photography!